and welcome back to my channel where we are all crime all black all the time.
You guys, I didn't even mean for this video to be this long. The stories just kept coming. I mean, I finished this video 3 days ago, but the stories kept coming. Like, it was a deadly Mother's Day weekend. And Mother's Day is not one of those holidays that you think of being, with people rambunctious and all kind of fuckery going on. But the week and the weekend of Mother's Day was deadly across the entire country. And right now, this very moment, there's a mom out there somewhere planning a funeral, picking out what her child's gonna wear to go in the ground, preparing siblings for their brothers and sisters to not come back anymore. And it's sad. And the one common thread that I kept going, and the one common thread I wanted everybody to pick up on was almost all of these cases were involving kids. Almost all of them. There were some that involved kids I just didn't even put up here because these are kids. And like I said, Mother's Day is not one of those holidays you think of being rambunctious and rowdy, but it's definitely a holiday that our mom every day is Mother's Day for a real mom. So it's not that, oh my God, it's Mother's Day. No, it's just the fact that for the rest of that mom's life, any mom that lost a child, for the rest of their life, anytime Mother's Day comes around, they have to relive the death of their child. They're going to relive it every day, but especially around this time when everybody else is spending time with their mothers, and you click on the TV and there's Mother's Day commercials. You go to the store and there's Mother's Day cards. That's going to hurt them for the rest of their lives. It doesn't really matter what day their child got killed on. All of these cases are involving kids, and if it wasn't murder, it was stealing cars or doing something else. And what that tells me is that we as parents, we as black parents, need to get a hold of our damn kids. Okay, our kids out here running ragged, and they doing adult shit. And then when they get that adult consequence, they don't know how to face it. But we're not being parents like we need to be. And let's just keep it real. A lot of us is being friends with our kids. You can't do that. You be their friend when they get grown and at your house. While they in your house, you are their parent and they do what you tell them to do. And if that means stay in your room, you stay in your room, because why a 12-year-old is out at 1 o'clock in the morning joyriding a stolen car behooves me. My 14-year-old barely leave my damn sight. We gotta do better as parents, man. We gotta do better as parents. This was a hard crime week to do, just because they just kept coming, and they were all kids. Like I said, some of them I didn't post. Some of them I'm probably gonna do like their own special video about it because it was just that fucked up. But anyway, stay tuned for next week's Crimes of the Week right here at All Crime All Black all the time. See you guys later. Bye. First stop on the list is Georgia.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome to 11 Alive News at 4 o'clock. I'm Faith Jesse.
And I'm Jonathan Martin. Within the last hour, we've been learning more about a shooting at a club in Buckhead. The shooting at the 1145 Lounge killed 21-year-old Mari Creighton and 20-year-old Nikairis Ridley. Atlanta Police Chief Darren Shearbaum telling us one shooter was involved and targeted someone inside. 4 other people were hit by the gunfire, and the police chief also says they are all still recovering in the hospital tonight. 11 Alive's Molly Oak spoke with one of the victim's best friends today and has more on what led to her untimely death.
calls and texts. That's what Muhammad Guy said he woke up to on Sunday. He quickly learned one of his best friends, 21-year-old Mari Creighton, died in a shooting at 1145 Lounge in Buckhead around 2:35 a.m. on Sunday. Creighton was a rising senior and volleyball player at Albany State University. 20-year-old Nikyrus Ridley also died in that shooting. 4 other people were injured. Atlanta police say all the victims were in their 20s and 30s.
I can't even wrap my head around this. Like, you wake up being told that you have another friend that's been murdered, and it's like a continuous cycle.
He says he wants justice for Mari. Tonight at 6, how he hopes his best friend is remembered. Reporting in Atlanta, Molly Oak, 11 Alive News.
Second stop, Alabama.
3 people are dead and multiple victims injured after a shooting over in Baldwin County. First responders got the call around 9:30 last night. WEAR Sade Ray joins us live in the studio. And Sade, investigators say people were gathered for a May Day party in Stockton, Alabama.
Yona, that's when gunshots were heard, leaving 18 people injured, and 3 of those victims are now dead. Stockton is a small town of about 400 people. It's roughly 30 miles northeast of Mobile. Nighttime photos show officers responding to the scene of a May Day shooting. Hundreds of people gathered at an open field on Upper Bryant's Landing Road in Stockton, Alabama for the party Saturday night. Suddenly, gunshots erupted into the crowd. Captain Andre Reed is an investigator with the Baldwin County Sheriff's Office. Reed says about 1,000 people were at the party. I reached out to the Baldwin County Sheriff's Office. Investigators weren't available to talk on camera, but they did send me a statement that says, in part, the event was peaceful until an argument started. That's when investigators say someone shot into the crowd. 18 people were hit with gunshots, and 3 of them died. Investigators are looking for one shooter, but they do believe there could be multiple shooters. Video from Sunday morning shows the aftermath, tents and shoes left behind. Crime scene tape surrounds the area, and several evidence markers were scattered across the ground. If you know anything about this incident or if you were at the party, you're asked to call the Sheriff's Office or Crime Stoppers. Live in the studio, Sade Ray, WEAR News.
Overnight shooting leaves 1 man dead and puts 6 others in the hospital.
Birmingham police are working to piece it all together, but they say they know for a fact someone saw something. According to police, that shooting happened just after 2 this morning along 3rd Avenue West at the Shell gas station. Police believe 2 groups were shooting at each other, and they counted, get this, over 150 shots fired.
Wow. James Giles joining us live tonight at BPD headquarters with more on this investigation. So, James, what's the latest?
Yeah, Lauren, Josh, several businesses in that area are just riddled with bullet holes after the shooting. We actually caught up with the detective working this investigation while he was gathering evidence, and after reviewing the surveillance footage and seeing just how many people were in the area when all this happened, he says they know someone knows something.
We believe upwards to over 150 rounds were fired in this shootout.
We saw bullet hole after bullet hole in several businesses along 3rd Avenue West after an early morning shootout between 2 groups. Birmingham police are working to figure out why.
People just are firing recklessly at one another, and often what we see is innocent people get struck by that gunfire.
Our young generation ain't getting a chance to make it to 25.
Police say 24-year-old David Westbrook died after the shootout. He was found by police in his car, which crashed into a utility pole. Another person is fighting for their life in the hospital, while 5 others are expected to be okay.
2 groups of Operation Night Rider officers were able to take 2 separate males in 2 separate locations into custody who were fleeing and in the act of tossing guns.
All of this happening the same day Keandra Johnson is rallying people together for a prayer service to pray away things like this plaguing the community.
I know it's hurting the heart of the believer to see these young generations just dying before their time.
Well, I think it's the concerning part is not just what happened today, but the trend of what's continuing to happen.
The area of this recent shootout is no stranger to violence, according to Officer Truman Fitzgerald, bringing up a mother's story from another shooting not long ago.
We met a young lady who lost her son in the same exact area almost 2 years ago. in a 100+ round shootout right in front of the 700 to 800 block of 3rd Avenue West.
And guys, as of right now, Birmingham police say those 2 people that they do have in custody are not charged and only being held for questioning as of right now. And again, the detective working this investigation emphasizes just how large of a crowd was out there at the time of this shooting. He says someone knows something and he urges everyone to speak up. Reporting live in Birmingham, James Giles, WBRC Fox 6 News, on your side.
Next, Virginia.
Well, tonight we are learning more about an infant baby girl who Norfolk police say was murdered by her parents.
Hillary Johnson II and Zabrea Parker were charged with second-degree murder in the death of their 9-day-old baby girl. The baby's grandfather is speaking out on the abuse and talked to our Michelle Wolf only on 10. Michelle?
Ejaya Johnson was born on April 25th at Sentara Norfolk General Hospital. Her grandfather was there that day and tells me he warned hospital staff that he feared for the infant's life. He did not believe his son or daughter-in-law were fit to be parents. He says his pleas were ignored.
So I told him I fear for her life.
Hillary Johnson Sr. thought he'd be celebrating the birth of his first grandchild. Instead, he's planning her funeral.
Not only me, my dad even said the same thing. We fear for her life. So how is it that y'all still let that baby leave? That baby won't never supposed to leave that hospital.
Norfolk police say 9 days after the infant's birth, she was brought to Children's Hospital of the King's Daughters. She was unresponsive and showed signs of abuse. Her parents were charged with second-degree murder. Johnson Sr. said at the time Ejaya was born, her parents were homeless and struggled with their mental health.
They was bright kids that I don't know what in the world snapped into them to live the way they were living. I don't know. I prayed to myself before she came here and I said, Lord, please let her maternal instincts kick in, that she want to protect that baby, that she don't want to, live the way she living, that she wants more for her and her child.
He told us detectives told his family when the baby was discharged from the hospital, her parents were offered a place to stay, but denied that option. He says his son and daughter-in-law were living in a tent outside when they left the hospital.
How is she able to leave when accusations were made that her life was in danger and she had no shelter?
Johnson says he has not spoken to his son since his granddaughter's birth.
Sentara could not comment on Hillary Johnson Sr.'s claims. We're waiting on further explanation of hospital policy regarding infant safety. Michelle Wolf, 10 on your side.
And we're going to go to Illinois, Chicago, of course.
A bizarre turn in the investigation of the shooting of a 13-year-old girl in the South Shore community just before 8 o'clock this morning.
Police are investigating, and family members tell CBS 2's Taro Molina that shooting is connected to an attempted car theft involving the teen.
Chicago police tell us the circumstances around this shooting are still under investigation. But the family of the woman who pulled the trigger tell us it was an attempted car theft, the third she's dealt with.
The aftermath of the shooting in South Chicago this morning, where Chicago police will only tell us a 13-year-old was wounded and taken to Comer Children's Hospital.
I'm just mad my sister in this type of situation.
Michelle Thorpe told us much more.
She caught 2 young kids stealing her car. Breaking in her car. They bust out her window.
She says her sister, a single mother, has a FOID card.
She's a security guard. She have her own business.
And she says her sister was acting in self-defense when she fired her gun and grazed a 13-year-old girl.
It get younger and younger.
One of 2 teens, she says, were trying to steal her sister's Kia SUV.
They need to be in school. They should have been in school.
The Kia is not in this parking lot because she says it was taken by Chicago police.
She's a scared mom whose her car constantly getting broken. This is the 3rd time that her car has got broken in.
It's not the first time she says her sister has dealt with this.
This will be the 3rd incident, the 3rd time that this happened with some kids.
For years, we've told you about theft issues with Kia and Hyundais across Chicago, where the car thefts have outpaced every major city in the country. They're among the millions of cars on the road right now missing an anti-theft device, no engine immobilizer, making certain models easier to steal. We asked Chicago police about the details family and neighbors shared with us, again claiming an attempted theft led up to the shooting this morning. A spokesperson would only tell me they're still investigating.
We're told the 13-year-old girl is at Comer Children's Hospital and is doing okay. We will continue to check in with police and bring you the very latest. For CBS 2, I'm Tara Molina.
A Chicago man faces several charges after a DNA test confirms he impregnated a resident with severe disabilities at a nursing home in the western suburbs. WGN's Judy Wang has details.
A Kane County judge Sunday denied Isaiah Fields' pretrial release, finding the 22-year-old facing multiple counts of sexual assault and battery posed a real threat to the victim and community. Fields is a former employee of Markland Heights Center in Geneva, a facility which provides 24-hour care for severely disabled people. Prosecutors allege he assaulted a resident in late August of 2023. They told the judge the woman has the neurological disorder Rett syndrome. She cannot walk or talk and has the cognitive function of a 1 or 2-year-old. Last month, Markland administrators learned the woman was pregnant. She gave birth the following day at Del Nor Hospital. The Kane County Sheriff's Office collected DNA samples from current and former male employees. Officers took Fields into custody Friday after his DNA test found there was a 99.9% probability he was the father. In a statement announcing charges, State's Attorney Jamie Mosser vowed to vigorously prosecute the case. The defendant is facing serious charges for his heinous actions against a vulnerable individual. Our office is committed to seeking justice for the victim and holding perpetrators of such egregious crimes fully accountable. In court, prosecutors also revealed Isaiah Fields faces assault charges in another case in Aurora. He's accused of fondling a friend's grandmother while she was asleep on a couch. Fields is scheduled to return to court Friday. Judy Wang, WGN News.
Markland released a statement today from its president and CEO saying in part, knowing that this nightmare has reached this stage, feels like a huge weight has been lifted off our organization, allowed us all to breathe a sigh of relief. While it cannot change the past, we are at least confident in knowing that justice will be served. They also say they will continue to cooperate with the legal investigation.
Next, Delaware.
Is breaking news in the investigation into the murder of a young woman at Delaware State University.
Just a short time ago, police announced the arrests of 2 men for the deadly shooting of Kamei Da Silva. Now, she was a student at Delaware Tech who was visiting Del State last month when she was shot and killed.
Action News reporter Sharifa Jackson joins us now live from Dover with the update. Sharifa.
Yeah, John and Sarah, as you said, police, they just wrapped up this news conference where they provided this update a short while ago. They say to get to this point, it took a lot of collaboration, hours of speaking with witnesses, and days of reviewing the surveillance cameras from the campus. And they say those cameras played a major role in cracking this case.
The Dover Police Department is announcing the arrest of Destry Jones, age 20, and Damian Hinson, age 18, both of Dover.
This morning, Dover police announcing these 2 arrests. This update comes just 2 weeks after 18-year-old Kamei Da Silva was shot on the campus of Delaware State University. She was rushed to the hospital where she died. Police say she was not the intended target or involved in any way.
For the record, Mr. Jones and Mr. Hinson are not enrolled as students at Delaware State University, and they have absolutely no affiliation with the school.
Police say the duo were involved in a fight on campus that led to shots being fired. May 2nd, Jones was taken into custody by marshals in Brooklyn, New York, while Hinson was taken into custody in Dover. Today, Kamei's mother calls the announcement of these arrests a relief.
They took someone that had nothing to do with what was going on with them, and their senseless choices affected a whole lot of people.
Yeah, both suspects, they face a number of different charges, including murder and also possession. They also face 2 counts of attempted murder of a 20 and 21-year-old related to the same incident. We're live in Dover. Sharifa Jackson, Channel 6, Action News. Sarah?
Yeah, it must come to some relief for her family. Sharifa, thank you.
A week-long carnival being held in the parking lot of the Concord Mall in Wilmington is canceled now after a deadly shooting of a teenager Saturday night. It happened at the Lead Fest Carnival, which is hosted by a nonprofit called Law Enforcement Against Drugs and Violence. Investigators say a fight broke out near the entrance to the event about 11 p.m. when someone fired several shots. 2 teens were hit here. A 16-year-old was killed. A 17-year-old is in serious condition. The suspect, a week-long carnival.
Texas, Houston to be exact, of course.
Christina, thanks. 6:33. This developing story. Houston police are investigating a chase and a deadly crash overnight. Investigators say kids driving a stolen car are responsible for crashing into 5 vehicles.
Police say that they're all middle school age kids between 12 and 13 years old. Tragically, one of those children have died. Brittany Jeffers joining us near Westheimer, where that chase ended, to explain how this all went down. Brittany.
Yeah, Owen and Sophia, a really difficult situation. Investigators say that there were 5 of those children inside a stolen vehicle. As you mentioned, one of them tragically died. 2 of the children were taken to the hospital with minor injuries, and the other 2, they're still looking for them. And investigators say that they originally tried to pull that car over around 10 o'clock last night when they saw it speeding, and then it crashed into another vehicle. So for context, this was in the 1200 block of Richmond, but that chase continued until that vehicle crashed into another car in the 2800 block of Kirkwood. Investigators say suspects tried to avoid a Metro bus along Westheimer, but instead they lost control of that vehicle, crashing into 3 other cars. Investigators say 4 of the kids jumped out of the car. Officers chased them and were able to detain 2 of them. The other 2 ran away.
Upon returning back to the vehicle, they found another suspect in the back seat of the vehicle who was unresponsive. HFD arrived, transported that suspect, who was declared deceased, at the hospital.
So again, police say 2 children that were detained were taken to the hospital with minor injuries. No one in the other 5 vehicles that were hit reported any injuries. And at this point, we don't have any additional information about the child who died. Now, police do tell us that that vehicle was reported stolen yesterday. At this point in time, we do not know how the children were able to get a hold of it. Reporting live, I'm Brittany Jeffers, KPRC 2 News.
Okay,
now to a heartbreaking story out of Northwest Harris County, where a 16-year-old boy was killed and a 15-year-old boy is injured following a shooting. Deputies say it happened around 10:30 last night at the Nantucket Square townhomes off of Rebecca Place Lane. Deputies are searching for 2 men possibly linked to the deadly gunfire. KPRC 2's Corley Peel shows us what neighbors are saying about the crime.
There are still a lot of questions surrounding this deadly shooting, but fortunately, witnesses got a glimpse at who may be involved. Neighbors like Haji Fambula woke up on Mother's Day learning about the deadly shooting outside the Nantucket Square townhomes the night before.
I came home to my babies crying, and I was in shock.
Anna Karina says she noticed a group of teens walking near the townhomes last night as she drove out of the complex.
Yeah, we were leaving and we just saw them walking across, kind of sketchy.
When Karina returned, crime scene tape was up. Investigators say a 16-year-old and a 15-year-old boy came outside their homes and were hit by gunfire after several shots were fired. The 16-year-old died. The 15-year-old was rushed to the hospital and is expected to be okay. Witnesses told detectives 2 men in hoodies were seen running away. Karina says one of the teen's mothers showed up.
A day before Mother's Day, that's really hard on the mother. I could hear it, her crying, and that was just really difficult. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. My prayers go out to the family.
She says the teens who were shot have been respectful to her and her dog in the past. She doesn't feel safe with the suspects on the run.
I hope they catch them. That's crazy, you know, especially in this neighborhood. We want to be safe, but, you know, I hope they don't come back, try to do anything, you know. I really hope they could find them.
Deputies are checking surveillance cameras in this area, but they're asking anyone who might have information about this deadly shooting to contact the Harris County Sheriff's Office. In Northwest Harris County, Corley Peel, KPRC 2 News.
Also breaking overnight, Houston police investigating a triple shooting.
It happened on the south side, just along Old Spanish Trail.
ABC 13's Brandon Hamilton is live this morning from HPD. And Brandon, have they caught the suspect yet?
Samika, no, and the only information HPD has about the suspect is that those shots were fired from someone in a white car. So we do know that Houston police were called around 9:30 Sunday night. That was to a parking lot on Old Spanish Trail near 288. So there was a slab event happening, so you can just expect and know there was a crowd of people. According to investigators, a man in his 20s was hit in the leg and shoulder. Another man was shot in the head. The 24-year-old woman, police say, was hit in the lower back area. Now, she was able to leave that location and call for help. Take a listen to how HPD says this all went down.
While the individuals were gathered in one parking lot, a vehicle that's only been described as a white car drove by and shot multiple shots into the Foot Locker parking lot at a crowd of people. In that crowd, we had 3 victims struck.
And so those 3 people who were struck, we're told they are expected to survive their injuries. Again, as far as the suspect, the only information HPD has is that that person who fired those shots were in a white car. We're live at HPD in downtown Houston. Brandon Hamilton, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.
Pennsylvania, Philly, to be exact.
A Philly school is mourning the loss of a beloved teacher who police say was killed in a murder-suicide. This is the 10 o'clock news. I'm Jason Martinez.
I'm Sheba Russell. Students and staff at Olney High School are grieving tonight, remembering their cherished special education teacher. And Steve, school leaders say Andrea Glaze was a bright light.
Yeah, they use that word bright because everybody we met tonight told us she was the shining star of the Philly School District.
She just embodied like love, and it's just the hardest thing to just go through, like just learning of her death.
Students and staff here at Olney High School still stunned 2 days after special education teacher Andrea Glaze was shot and killed in a murder-suicide Monday afternoon inside a home on 30th Street in Philadelphia.
She just loved everyone, and she was just like really patient with parents and students, and that's the thing that I think we're all going to really miss.
And trying to explain what happened to all her students is added to the difficult days this week at school.
It's such a hard thing to explain. I mean, I think it's hard for us to even wrap our heads around about how this could happen to such a wonderful person.
What they learned from Philadelphia police is that the 36-year-old in the prime of her life was shot by a 42-year-old male acquaintance, Richard Harper, who was found next to her dead of a gunshot wound police believe was self-inflicted. A gun found next to Mr. Harper's body. A GoFundMe has been established and raised more than half of its $20,000 goal so far for a scholarship called the Andrea Glaze Only Love Scholarship to be awarded to a senior each year. It says to continue the positive impact she had on all of us.
It's been a long process of just talking to the students, listening to them, listening to our staff. She was the heart and center of Olney. I never thought that something like this would happen. I mean, yes, we work in a very tough community, and a lot of our students experience gun violence, but I didn't expect anything like this to hit Olney.
Any hint that she was having any issue?
Not at all. She had such a bubbly personality. She always found the positive outlook in anything. So no, we never knew anything, any troubles that she had. She was always super positive.
Well, they will have a vigil at Olney High School starting at 6:15 Monday to honor Andrea's memory. Jason, Sheba, funeral arrangements have not been announced just yet.
All right, Steve, it's just so heavy. It's a lot to take in right now. All right, appreciate it.
We are staying on top of breaking news out of Southwest Philadelphia. A deadly scene on the Passyunk Avenue Bridge. A young man found fatally shot inside a car. A little girl also inside that car, grazed in the head by a bullet. A third victim found at another location and rushed to the hospital. Thanks for joining us at 11. I'm Sheba Russell. We want to get right out to our Steve Keeley at the scene. Steve, I know a number of new details have been coming in over the last hour. What are you learning?
Well, Sheba, for those who don't know the Passyunk Avenue Bridge, one side where we are is the 28th Street side. It sounds like it's a far distance. The other side is 61st Street, but it's really one side and the other side of the bridge. So this is where the man who was killed is still in that Chevy Malibu that crashed against the median. Right now, these eastbound lanes remain closed. The shooting happened at the foot of the bridge, right at the 61st Street side, where there is a gentleman's club called the Purple Orchid. There are 26 bullet shells there. This Chevy Malibu has at least 10 bullet holes through that passenger door and passenger window and windshield. And there was a little 9-year-old girl seated in the front passenger side next to a 23-year-old. Now, they are related. We don't know how. Maybe brother and sister, maybe uncle and niece, but they're relatives. He is dead, shot at least twice in the head and shoulder. She somehow survived a graze wound to her head. All the bullets that went through the door where she was sitting and through the window where she was sitting somehow missed her, other than the one that just grazed her. Then she survives the car crashing. We don't know if the car just crashed here or whether it had been crashing along the median and it just drifted here, because it just stopped here eventually. And so the man on the other side was the third shooting victim. He was 46 years old. He is critical after being shot in the back. Police believe he was outside of his car in that parking lot when he was shot. So they believe for sure whoever fired those 26 shots was targeting this 23-year-old man and did not care that a little 9-year-old girl's head was peeking up out of that passenger side window when this killer fired all those bullets through that passenger side window and door. Chief Inspector Scott Small talked about how it's a miracle that this girl not only survived the shooting and the crash, but then she ran for her life, running out of the car in busy traffic right as it was getting dark at 8:30 and raining here.
According to witnesses, she was in the front passenger seat. All 10 of the bullet holes we found went through the passenger side of the vehicle. Most of them went through the front passenger side door where she was sitting. So she is extremely lucky. Although she's shot, she's lucky because she's only hit once. And according to staff at Children's Hospital, it's a graze wound to her head. She's conscious, walking and talking. She was able to get out of the car, according to witnesses, run eastbound on this busy highway. Luckily, someone picked her up, rushed her to the 1st District a few blocks away, where she was able to talk to police.
Well, her mother is now with her at Children's Hospital of Pennsylvania, along with detectives who will have to talk to her, because she right now may be the best witness to what happened, considering the 46-year-old man got shot in the back, and we don't know if he was even close to the shooting or that was a stray shot that went far before it shot him. Then he got into his Acura trying to get help or get cover from the shooting. So we don't know what he saw exactly, and he's expected to survive, although he was critically wounded, Sheba. So a wild scene. The crimes unit just showed up to take their measurements, try to find the surveillance video from the gentleman's club over there and any other witnesses, as homicide detectives are there, also at the hospital and here on this scene as well. So this Passyunk Avenue Bridge's eastbound lanes will be shut down probably a lot into the overnight, as well as this homicide investigation is just getting underway. But as bad as it is, Sheba, just imagine how much worse it would have been if we're talking about a 9-year-old girl shot here and killed too.
Oh, yeah, just unthinkable, Steve. Just imagining this little girl, 9 years old, running for her life tonight, and now another family will have to lay their loved one to rest. All right, Steve Keeley, thank you.
Tennessee, Memphis, of course.
A Memphis woman turned on her television to see her daughter was wanted in connection with a murder. So what does that mother do? She took her daughter to the police station to turn her in. And tonight, 26-year-old Kenyatta Hayes is facing first-degree murder.
Memphis police say that she shot and killed a man
over $60. Fox 13's Daniel Wilkerson spoke with Hayes' mother today. Daniel joins us live tonight. Daniel, after the mom brought her daughter, the daughter confessed?
Well, that's the million-dollar question. Police is saying yes, she confessed. And as you said, Daryl and Darcy, police are saying she did this over $60.
Police say this video shows 26-year-old Kenyetta Hayes just moments after she promised a sexual act to a man for $60, but then robbed and killed him. But her mother, Shantae Jones, feels otherwise.
You don't think she did this?
No, I don't.
Why is that?
Because the guy that she was with, I believe she was scared of him.
Jones asked Fox 13 to blur her face out of fear she may be targeted. Investigators say Hayes met the man at this Marathon gas station in a 3000 block of Lamar. Hayes told police the man asked her for oral sex in exchange for money. An arrest warrant says Hayes never planned on having any type of sex with the man, but told police she was going to rob the man. Police say after leaving the gas station, Hayes and the man went here to Cherokee Park where he thought she would perform the act. That's where investigators say Hayes shot the man, took $60 and ran off. Video captured her leaving. Jones says she saw the video on the news, called MPD homicide, telling officers she was on the way to them with her daughter.
Because I don't condone violence. I don't. If you do something, you pay for it.
Once at MPD, officers say Hayes told them she committed the crime because she was, quote, thirsty for money. When asked what she did with the $60, Hayes told officers she bought her and her boyfriend 2 combo meals and she had $13 left. Though Jones doesn't believe her daughter pulled the trigger, she says still there is a lesson here for young people.
You need to think about your actions. You need to think about what you're doing before you do something. They need to be a leader, not a follower.
And watch who they hang around with.
And watch who they hang around with. Yes, sir.
Yeah, back out here live. That's good advice coming from that mother tonight. The mother tells me no matter how it went down, who did what, she says she doesn't want people to lose sight of the fact that a life was lost here. She has a message for the victim's family. I'm working on that part of the story for Fox 13 News at 10. Darcy.
Well, Daniel, you said that the mother said she saw her daughter on TV news and then took her daughter down to the police precinct. Did the mother ever ask her daughter whether she in fact shot and killed the man? Because in the story, the mother says she doesn't think that her daughter would do that. But did she ask her daughter, did she do it?
You know what, Darcy, that was a question I had for the mother. After all, they had to probably have discussed things at the home, and then she drove her all the way down to the police station. The mother says to me that the daughter didn't say anything at all. She did not indicate either way. Darcy.
That is Fox 13's Daniel Wilkerson reporting live tonight. Thank you so much, Daniel.
He'll never come home to his kids, or me, his grandmama, or his mother. She done lost 2 children.
A mother's heartbreak. Her 2 sons shot and killed in less than 2 years. One son gunned down just hours before Mother's Day.
And tonight, the mother and grandmother share their fear for their family with Fox 13's Sierra Jordan.
Kayvon and Styron Ford were both shot and killed in South Memphis. Styron was coming to see his grandma until he was gunned down right here in their next door neighbor's driveway. Now, I was able to sit down with the victim's mother, and she described to me her heartache and pain.
It still feel like a dream. They took both of my kids.
Through the words of this mother, you can hear her pain.
He has a baby on the way. He was not even that type of kid to be out here like that.
The mother says she was grieving and too upset to be on camera. She says her 20-year-old son, Styron Ford, was shot and killed right in front of his grandmother's home on East Mallory Street just after 5:30 Saturday evening. But less than 2 years ago, Styron's older brother, Kayvon, was also gunned down at a convenience store in South Memphis.
To lose your grandson the day before Mother's Day, It couldn't be a great Mother Day.
We told you before, Taewon Bradford was indicted for first-degree murder for the death of Kayvon Ford and posted a $75,000 bond. Court records show Bradford has a violent criminal history, included aggravated assault. Ford says the court system has failed her family.
We scared, keep giving these killers a slap on the wrist. We're gonna continue to have these murders out here.
No answers and no justice for Kayvon and Styron. Instead of celebrating Mother's Day, the family was reliving the tragedy again.
And he always tell me, I got you, Mom, I got you. And for them to take my last son from me, I don't even know what to do.
The Ford family say they will not rest until they get justice. If you have any information on what happened here Saturday, please reach out to Crime Stoppers at 901-528-CASH. In South Memphis, Sierra Jordan, Fox 13 News.
Police are looking for a woman who threatened a fast food worker in Southeast Memphis with a gun. That woman placed an online order at the Burger King on Winchester and Mendenhall and went through the drive-thru for pickup. She then went inside the business and started arguing with a worker. She then left, came back with a handgun. No argument now. Filled up some drink cups with soda, then left. If you know who she is, you're asked to give Crime Stoppers a call.
Next stop, Kentucky, specifically Louisville.
Thanks for joining us tonight for WDRB News at 10 o'clock. I'm Joel Skipper. A string of shootings in Louisville leaves 5 dead in just 24 hours, all this Mother's Day weekend. WDRB's Molly Jett spoke to a mom whose life is now forever changed.
The first deadly shooting happened early yesterday morning at a club near Iroquois Park. 2 people were killed and 2 others were hurt. Later that afternoon, someone shot and killed a man in the Linden area. Shortly after, another fatal shooting took place in the Highland Park area, and just before midnight, a man died in a shooting in Okolona.
And they gave me his belongings, his jewelry, and his lighter.
It's the news no mother wants to hear.
And that's when I actually found out it was him.
Melissa Flores was leaving the grocery store when she found out her son.
But it just feels like he's not gone. It's just like he's not here.
18-year-old David Martinez was found shot to death near train tracks in the Highland Park area.
He didn't deserve what happened to him. He was a hard worker. He had a kind heart. He was willing to help anybody and give anybody a chance.
Martinez was one of 5 people shot and killed in Louisville Saturday.
At first, I didn't really want to believe it was him because, nobody does.
The first shooting near Iroquois Park at the hotspot. 2 men were killed and 2 other adults were hurt. Then Saturday afternoon, a 31-year-old man had been shot several times in Linden at the Devonshire Apartments.
Everyone, this happens every other day. People are losing another family member, another friend, all young. And it's seriously, when is it going to stop?
Shortly after, Martinez was shot several times near Beachmont.
I just don't want him to be forgotten. There's a lot of unsolved homicide cases that kind of just get swept under the rug, and I don't want him to be one of those cases.
And then, in the Okolona neighborhood, a man was killed just off Preston Highway.
No one deserves, no matter what they did or who they hurt, no one deserves to get murdered. They have friends and family.
If you know anything about any of these shootings, you're asked to call LMPD's anonymous tip line. That number is 574-LMPD. With photojournalist Ariana Shuka, I'm Molly Jett, WDRB News.
The jury deliberated during an attempted murder trial. The suspect cut his ankle monitor off, ran away, and still hasn't been found.
As WDRB's Monica Harkins details, now attorneys are split on what should happen to the suspect's bond money.
This is Vernon Jackson. He was on trial for attempted murder of a gentleman's club employee, but he ditched his ankle monitor while the jury deliberated in that case, something the Commonwealth's Attorney's Office says has never happened before. All of these charges stem from August 2021. Court documents say Jackson had just paid cover to enter a Shively Gentlemen's Club when the business abruptly closed for a shooting. Jackson became angry and chased an employee when he couldn't get his money back. Police say Jackson shot that employee several times. Jackson was on trial in March of this year for charges of attempted murder, assault, and being a convicted felon in possession of a handgun. That's when he cut his ankle monitor during the jury deliberation. Here's a snippet from when attorneys and the judge figured out what happened.
A escape warrant has just been signed for him. He is gone.
This is a new situation that I've never encountered.
Nor have I, I'll be honest.
Had Jackson stuck around the few hours of deliberation, he would have learned the jury couldn't reach a unanimous decision, and he would have been able to go home. Now he's wanted yet again and will have to face these charges. But the main question, what happens to the $70,000 bond posted? Prosecutors say Jackson violated his bond by failing to show up through the end of the trial and because he didn't keep in touch with his attorney. While the other side argues Jackson showed up for the trial each day, so that should count. With no precedent to follow, a judge will have to make a decision about the money. That hearing is scheduled to happen in June. And once he's found and arrested, Jackson's bond will be set at $250,000. Monica Harkins, WDRB News.
Mississippi, up next.
The tragedy began unfolding over the weekend after the 3 women were found shot to death in a home in Ridgeland. A Mississippi family torn apart by violence. 4 members gunned down in a matter of days. According to Ridgeland police, Ivory Welch III was identified as a suspect in a shooting that killed his mother and 2 sisters. Welch went on the run to Arizona after the shooting at a house on Old Canton Road in Ridgeland. When Arizona state troopers tried to capture Welch Monday, they say he shot at the troopers and was fatally wounded in the gunfight.
This hits really close to home.
The investigation started on Mother's Day after police forced their way into the house. Once inside, they found 3 women all shot to death. 76-year-old Ada Thomas Welch, her 2 daughters, Renee Welch, 56, along with 42-year-old Crystal Welch. Crystal Welch was an attorney. Many say she touched lives, young and old.
I've known Crystal since she was in law school, and it's the same person every time you saw her. You know, she was one of those people, when you see her, you just felt better after leaving her.
John Hall is incoming president of the Magnolia Bar, a group of African-American lawyers.
She understood the value of being an African-American lawyer, and a lot of times it's a thankless job.
Welch was board president of the ACLU of Mississippi, and she worked as an associate professor at Mississippi College School of Law, where one of her last events was graduation this past Friday.
For that to be one of the last things that she did speaks volumes, because that law school was very important to her as she was to it.
Welch's friends and colleagues describe her biggest contribution as her commitment to helping families and children in adoption cases.
As far as adoptions in Mississippi, she was a pillar of that type of work, and has helped make hundreds of families better by doing adoptions.
I've gotten so many calls from members who knew her, who worked with her. She had such a commitment to excellence with everything that she did.
And we have heard from so many people across the spectrum, just heartbroken and shocked at this tragedy, at the loss of Crystal Welch and her mom and sister. Now, experts say if you're having struggle coping or grappling with what's happening, they say you should seek out mental health professionals who can help you navigate this emotional roller coaster. But right now, police haven't said what the motive may have been behind that shooting. For now, we're live in downtown Jackson. Ross Adams, 16 WAPT News.
The city never sleeps and neither does crime. New York City, here we go.
There were more police at several high schools in Soho following a deadly shooting of a 16-year-old not far from his school. CBS 2's Natalie Duddridge spoke to devastated friends and neighbors at his home in Brooklyn, who shared that he was dedicated to his family, basketball, and bettering his future.
I helped raise him. I used to take him to school.
Ramel Williams says the only thing worse than the pain of losing 16-year-old Mekhi Brown is imagining the boy's mother's anguish.
She's taking it very hard. That's her only child. Your only child. You'd have no other children. It's heartbreaking.
It's unimaginable.
I hug her this morning. I know I feel her pain as a mother.
On Tuesday, just after class was dismissed, police say a fight broke out between two groups near Dominic and Spring Street. Suddenly, shots rang out.
And all of a sudden at like 2:50, we heard a bang bang.
Well, somebody like pulled out on a stretcher, and I was like, what's going on?
Investigators say the bullet struck Brown in the head and leg, killing him just a block from his school, Broome Street Academy Charter High School.
Makai was a loving person, and he did anything that he could do to help people. He see me coming through the hallway with garbage, he take it from me. He see me going to school with my daughter, he hug her.
On Wednesday morning, safety officers increased security at nearby schools, adding metal detectors and bag checks.
Too many guns on the street, too many kids to get access to guns.
Friends say Brown commuted more than an hour to school each day from Brooklyn to Soho to pursue his dreams of playing basketball.
That's one thing. He loved basketball. His grades was trying to keep up so he could stay on the teams.
Police are still searching for two suspects who rode off on bikes. As for the motive and if Brown was specifically targeted, that's still unclear.
I just pray and hope whoever did do it turn themselves in.
Now the community is focused on supporting Brown's mother.
It's going to take a village to hold mommy up right now.
In East Flatbush, Brooklyn, Natalie Duddridge, CBS 2 News.
According to NYPD data, there were not any shootings in that area last year, and Tuesday's shooting is the first so far this year.
Breaking news right now, the NYPD is zeroing in on the man who they say attacked and sexually assaulted a woman in the Bronx. We thank you for joining us right now at 7 o'clock. I'm Natalie Pasquarella. A big break tonight in the search for that suspect behind a horrifying attack. Hours after that woman recounted what happened to her to News 4's Miles Miller.
Police have identified a suspect in this incident. He is Kasan Parks, a 39-year-old male who is currently being searched for by the Bronx Warren Squad. We know that the victim wanted to come forward because she approached us in the neighborhood and said she wanted to talk about what happened to her to protect other women.
He showed me with a shocking bell because he wanted to demand sex from me and exchange for money, and I said no, and I kept on moving. So he grabbed me from behind with a shocking bell and dragged me to the ground over there by the criers.
The video is hard to watch, so disturbing we froze it as a man puts a belt around a victim's neck and drags her behind a car. He chokes her until she falls unconscious.
He didn't say nothing, he just showed me from behind because I couldn't see him. He just went from behind like this and showed me. I couldn't see him, I couldn't even say nothing.
The attack happened as the woman was walking on 152nd and Cortlandt Avenue in Melrose on May 1st, just after 3 a.m.
Yeah, I was not unconscious for a couple of seconds, like for 20 minutes. Yeah.
And when you woke up, what happened?
What happened, I got up and I talked to some neighbors so they can give me some advice on what to do. So I went to the hospital and got a rib kit, and they gave me some shots and stuff, and then I went to the policeman on the precinct and reported it.
The woman was treated at Lincoln Hospital in the Bronx and released.
I've been worried, I'm scared behind my life because he can pop up anytime and do something to somebody again.
She says people in the neighborhood have seen the suspect before.
It's not the first time he does it to women, it's like the two women he did that to.
And if you know Kasan Parks or know where he is, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers. That number, 800-577-TIPS. Again, he is being searched for tonight by the Warren Squad. That's the latest at the 40 Precinct in Melrose, the Bronx. I'm Miles Miller, News 4 New York.
Police arrested the man accused of stabbing a tourist while she was walking out of a deli near Times Square.
The seemingly unprovoked attack was all caught on surveillance video. Good Day's Kendall Green has more.
Whether you're visiting New York or have been here for years, video of a brazen Times Square stabbing requires a double take.
He just stabbed her?
He stabbed her. Police say just before 6:15, 61-year-old Cyril Destin, seen here sitting in a walker, stabbed this 35-year-old tourist coming out of a gift shop Saturday.
He smoked his cigarette. He see like two lady coming from the gift shop, and she's done. He's stabbed the one lady.
Anwar Yaya's no stranger to Destin, who he says is a regular at Port Gourmet Deli, just off 43rd and 8th in Times Square, where NYPD officers have been making their rounds following the incident.
It's not normal. After like when you stop somebody, you have to run away from the cab. But this guy, after when he's only one time, and he back to his chair, smoke a cigarette. People work in front of him. Too many people. It's rush hours.
It seems like every other day there's something disturbing happening in the city. Like, that was just completely unprovoked. And that happened, I didn't, is she okay?
The victim is expected to recover after she was taken to Bellevue Hospital, as New Yorkers try to imagine what triggered the seemingly unprovoked attack.
I feel terrible for him because he's obviously a troubled person. I feel terrible for her.
So just for nothing. Well, that's a part of New York I had not seen, and I'm glad I haven't seen it.
Police say Destin has a history of at least 14 arrests, including robbery, petty larceny, and several drug charges. He was charged and arrested Saturday with assault and criminal possession of a weapon.
Indianapolis, Indiana.
New information tonight on another weekend of violence in Indianapolis.
And we've now learned the names of 3 men shot and killed during a violent 24 hours in Indianapolis Saturday. CBS 4's Jesse Wells has more on those victims.
The first of the 3 homicides took place here at this home behind me, where a 52-year-old man was shot outside his own front door. Friends and neighbors of that victim say because he didn't have any criminal history or any known enemies, they're struggling to make sense of the violence. Running up to this front door near 30th and Schofield on the near northeast side, the man who lived at this home told his roommate he'd been shot in the chest. The shooting took place just after midnight early Saturday morning. That roommate tried to apply pressure to the wound, but the victim died after being rushed to the hospital.
For that to happen to him, that wasn't right. But like I said, he didn't bother nobody.
That victim was identified as 52-year-old Willie Biles Jr. His friends describe him as a loving father who enjoyed fixing up cars and helping those in need.
Man, he was a cool dude. If you needed something, he would help you. I don't understand why somebody would even do something to him like that.
Just 1 hour after that killing, IMPD was called to an apartment complex on the south side and found 23-year-old Marcus McLaughlin shot to death. 2 people believed to be involved in that shooting were detained for questioning before being released without charges. Finally, around 8 o'clock Saturday night, police were called to a home on the near east side along Ewing Street and found 46-year-old Clarence McGee dead on scene. No suspect information was released in that case. While the 3 deaths aren't related, Willie's friends and neighbors say they're tired of people settling disputes with gunfire.
He should be able to solve without the violence, but people just do dumb stuff.
Finally, anyone with information on any of the 3 homicides is still asked to contact either IMPD's homicide office or Crime Stoppers. Jesse Wells, CBS 4 News.
FYI, I'm starting a section in my channel called Florida is Not a Real Place. When you see the stories that come from Florida, you'll know why. Florida, here you go.
The family of a Cape Coral teen murder suspect is now also facing charges after the 16-year-old was arrested. Cape Coral police say his mom, aunt, and dad threatened to kill the family of his co-defendant.
These are the 2 boys charged so far in the murder of 15-year-old Kayla Rincon Miller. Investigators say Christopher Horn Jr.'s family wanted to keep Thomas Stein's family quiet. Kayla was walking with 2 other girls from the movies along Southeast 16th Place back in March when the group was ambushed and Kayla was shot.
NBC2's Samantha Romero walks us through what detectives say Horn's family did to try to make sure Kayla's family never got justice.
I don't know that. I'm sorry?
Shanice, it's okay, hon.
Christopher Horn Jr.'s mom phoning into the courtroom just hours before police arrested even more members of her family.
The 2 new arrests were just recently this afternoon.
Stein is another teen charged with Kayla Rincon Miller's murder. Today, new documents revealed exactly what led up to the arrest of Horn and his family members. It all begins with Kayla's murder on March 17th. The new warrant says the day after the murder is the first time Jessica Stein was threatened by Christopher Horn's family.
It says Christopher Horn, accompanied by his mom and dad, went to Stein's home. They told Jessica Stein Stein she needed to come with them and she needed to bring her son. Fearing for her life, she and Thomas followed them to a nearby park where they were apparently surrounded by sisters Veronica and Shanice Stewart while Christopher Horn Sr. sat in a car nearby. They allegedly told Jessica Stein she needed to keep her son quiet. The warrant says Christopher Horn Sr. flashed a pistol. It goes on to say Shanice told Stein if someone took her child, then Shanice would, quote, take one of hers. The next day, March 19th, Cape Coral police pulled over Thomas and Jessica Stein's rented car along Bayshore Road and arrested Thomas. You could see it in this video.
Yo, what in the North Fort Myers is happening right now? They got this lady out at gunpoint.
Then on March 20th, the warrant says sisters Shanice and Veronica Stewart returned to Stein's house, threatening Jessica again. Jessica Stein told police the sisters told her Thomas was talking too much after his arrest. They said they had people on the inside that could get to him. That same day, NBC2 talked to Jessica Stein.
A detective came out and spoke with me and told me that my son is being investigated for the murder in Cape Coral.
First at 5, a new development and a horrible story out of Polk County. We first told you about this one yesterday. A mother accused of beating her 4-year-old adoptive son to death will not be getting out of jail anytime soon. 36-year-old Patricia Saint-Nazaire is being held without bond, charged with first-degree murder. Prosecutors say Brian Boyer's death was the result of long-term abuse, a crime that is sadly all too common. New tonight, Fox 13's Carla Byron spoke with the child advocate about what can be done to prevent tragedies like these.
We'll begin with Patricia Saint-Nazaire.
Patricia Saint-Nazaire of Davenport appeared in court Thursday. Unable to retain an attorney, she was held on no bond on her charges, including first-degree murder.
It would have been great if we could have found this child and rescued him before he was beaten to death.
Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd says Saint-Nazaire beat her 4-year-old adopted son Brian Boyer to death last week. An autopsy showed he had a history of abuse, and Judge described several instances of brutality that he said made his stomach turn.
This is a breakdown of humanity.
Jody DeMang is a child advocate at One More Child in Lakeland. She says children aren't likely to verbalize abuse, so there are nonverbal cues people can look out for.
That might be a child who is very tired at school, who has a lot of absences or frequent tardies, who doesn't have their personal care taken care of. Maybe they don't have appropriate clothing, or they're eating insatiably at school, or maybe they're showing up with marks and bruises that are unexplained.
She adds people should always take their concerns to the top.
The truth is, if you see anything that's concerning, you should never hesitate, whether you're a teacher or just a community member, never hesitate to report that, because even the small sign can be something that is big happening within the home.
Saint-Nazaire will appear in court again next month. In Polk County, Carla Byron, Fox 13 News.
One More Child offers intervention and prevention services from family support and nursing to effective parent training. They also license foster homes, so if you feel that you can provide a child with a safe and loving home, that might be an option to consider.
Now at 5:30, a mother accused of the unthinkable, and she's now behind bars facing child abuse charges.
She's accused of stomping on her baby and allegedly even took a picture of the act. Local 10's Christian De La Rosa joins us live with this truly disturbing story. Christian?
Hollywood police detectives still don't know what was her motive. The judge in the case has ordered a mental health evaluation. This 18-year-old mom accused of something unthinkable and despicable.
Alicia Bray.
In court Friday, facing a very serious charge.
I do have significant concern.
Hollywood police say they got a 911 call Thursday evening from a woman claiming her friend sent her disturbing images showing Alicia Bray stomping on her 10-month-old baby girl.
And I do find probable cause.
When officers showed up at Bray's Hollywood home, they searched her phone. And they say they found a picture showing her stepping on her baby's face.
I'm ordering no victim contact, and it is going to be pretrial release with a GPS.
Her defense attorney is saying in court she will fight the charges. So Bray is being charged with child abuse with no bodily harm, and that is because fortunately police, when they inspected the baby, she was found uninjured. Again, if this mother is able to post bond, she does have to wear a GPS tracking device, and she will not be able to see her 10-month-old baby girl. Live in Hollywood, I'm Christian De La Rosa, Local 10.
For the first time tonight, we are hearing from a mother accused of driving drunk in a crash that killed her young son. That's as community, they come out to honor this little boy. And Fox News' Camila Miri is live for us tonight. Camila, you have to feel for this mother, but what does she have to say about this claim that she was under the influence at the time?
Yeah, it's a really interesting thing to hear from her. You will in a couple of seconds, but she is saying that she didn't do anything wrong, that this was a terrible accident. She says the brakes failed in her car, and she says that she forgot to put her child in the car seat. Take a look.
He was full of life. He was my everything.
Her 4-year-old son, Jaquavius King Baskin, gone in an instant. A crash on I-75 near 94 in Detroit on Monday. The little boy, not properly restrained, was ejected and died as a result of his injuries. The driver, his mother, Shaniqua Baskin, failed a field sobriety test on the scene.
I'm shooken up. I have my child on the ground. Of course I can't walk a straight line. I barely can breathe.
She was taken into custody and blood was drawn to determine if she was under the influence. Investigators are waiting on those results.
Anybody that knows Shaniqua, they know Shaniqua doesn't drink at all.
Meanwhile, on Friday, family and friends gathering to honor Jaquavius.
His personality is just unbelievable. You know, he was like he was advanced for his age. His personality, if you meet him, you'll love him when you first meet him.
He was very, very happy, outgoing. He loved to play. He loved to give me a hug every time he saw me.
And while the memories are happy,
I'm really at a loss for words right now. Only thing I can do is pray. That's all I can do. Pray for deliverance and pray for peace. That's all I can do.
It's just hard. It's really hard. I didn't have much time with him. And the time I did have, just memories.
Hard to talk to grandfather. He was just really, really taken aback with all these emotions, but of course sharing what he wanted to about his little grandson. Meanwhile, Shaniqua says that she wasn't charged with anything formally, and I talked to police. They are waiting that blood alcohol test to determine if she was indeed under the influence. She did tell me that her older daughter, her 6-year-old daughter, was taken away from her by Child Protective Services. She says she's a good mom. She says this is not her fault. But of course, you know, we have to see what the police say. We have to see what they're saying if that blood alcohol test comes back positive. But just a horrible set of circumstances all around.
A test drive for a new car turns into a wild ride on the Palmetto. Police say that a woman stole a Honda from a car dealership, then led them on a chase. A driver determined to get away jumped into the lake after she wrecked the car.
And tonight, a witness and a victim are talking about the crazy ordeal to our Jamie Garola. He's live at the jail for us tonight. Jamie.
Yeah, the victim says it's a miracle he's alive after the woman rear-ended his vehicle, and a witness who recorded the woman jumping into the water says it felt like she was watching a scene right out of a movie.
Ooh, we're gonna get you, buddy. Look how many are in the water. You're out, bro.
This was the scene on the Palmetto southbound Thursday at the Northwest 25th Street off-ramp. Miami-Dade and Doral police jumping in a lake to try and take into custody Melina Logan. The 27-year-old had just allegedly stolen a new car during a test ride at Honda of South Miami and Palmetto Bay and led police on a chase all the way north.
That's very dangerous.
Rosie Daniel watched the whole thing unfold while at lunch from work and recorded the drama on her cell phone.
So at that point, they multiplied. Cops came from everywhere, and at that time, they jumped into the water and retrieved her.
Police confirmed Logan continued to try and get away from them while in the water, refusing to grab the ropes they threw for her to grab onto. When officers jumped in to try and rescue her, Logan allegedly fought back, scratching an officer on both his arms and jumping over another officer, briefly pushing her underwater.
I was actually shocked. I felt like I was in a movie, the Will Smith movie, but live action.
Before jumping into the lake and ditching the stolen car, police say Logan hit multiple vehicles. This traffic cam shows the car swerving dangerously across the highway, eventually rear-ending this man's Mercedes.
Yeah, she just hit me out the blue. I just get hit from the back, boom. And then she hit me into a semi-truck underneath it, and she kept trying to get away and pushing me further underneath. And luckily, the guy stopped, the semi stopped.
Kenneth said he was scared for his life, the accident causing a chain reaction behind him.
People like that don't need to be on the road, man. It's not that serious, you know. And whatever you're trying to do is not working. You could have really hurt me and a lot of people. And I got kids to go home to.
Now, Logan was taken to the hospital before being booked into jail. She's charged with battery on a police officer and grand theft. Reporting live in Northwest Miami-Dade, Jamie Garola, NBC6 News.
North Carolina.
More calls for answers and action this morning after yet another violent weekend in the Queen City. Officers are now investigating 5 shootings in less than 24 hours, including 2 that turned deadly.
That brings us to at least 50 homicides so far this year. And for some context, this time last year, we had less than 30. WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards now live this morning with the latest. And Destiny, this is becoming a really alarming trend.
It is. 3 people are injured and 2 people died in these shootings over the weekend. Now, the first shooting happened on Saturday in West Charlotte on Remount Road near West Boulevard. CMPD identified the victim as 29-year-old Octavius Houston, and we're told he died at the scene. Then early Sunday morning before 5 a.m., another shooting in East Charlotte. Police arrived to Kilbourne Drive just off Eastway Drive for an assault with a deadly weapon call and found a person with gunshot wounds. The victim died at the hospital. People we spoke in this neighborhood say crime in this area has gotten out of hand.
It ain't no good area. It's not a good area. They're trying to straighten it up, you know, because now they have the police, and the police sit and watch those 2 stores. So it's, you know, they trying. That's all they can do is try.
And the 3 other shootings all happened on Sunday, 2 in Northeast Charlotte and 1 near Lake Wiley. Medic confirms 1 victim in each shooting, all taken to the hospital with serious injuries. And there's no word on suspects as of yet, but CMPD is investigating the 2 deadly shootings, both as homicides. Live at CMPD headquarters, I'm Destiny Richards, WCNC Charlotte.
A man charged with murdering 2 people in 2 Durham shootings just had his first court appearance.
Brandon Eno faces 2 counts of first-degree murder after Durham police found Jennifer Eno and Scott Snyder shot on Saturday. WRAL's Monica Casey joins us live from the Durham County Courthouse. Monica, you got some new information about a possible hostage situation.
Yeah, Michelle, that's right. The assistant district attorney here in Durham County Court said at 11:20 Saturday morning, officers were dispatched to what was reported to be a possible hostage situation and had to block off roads near Southwest Durham Drive. We know 2 people were killed on Saturday. Records show the woman who died, Jennifer Faith Eno, married Brandon Eno in 2011. Brandon Eno's court-appointed attorney shared today he is a father.
He is a father of a 12-year-old who currently lives with him. He has lived here for years and has family in the area.
Durham police say Jennifer was found in a car in the northbound right turn lane on Southwest Durham Drive. She died from her injuries at the hospital. The second victim in this case, Scott Edward Snyder Jr., was found in the parking lot of a business nearby on Mount Moriah Road. He also died at the hospital on Saturday. Brandon Eno appeared in his first appearance via video from the jail. He told the judge today he has no prior criminal history. He was given no bond.
Police arrested 3 teens and 1 adult for their possible roles in this shooting. They say it happened last night at the Richard Green Housing Complex.
Now to your sides, Aaron Jenkins joins us now in the studio. Aaron, you spoke to the police chief today. What do we know?
Well, police have arrested 4 people so far in this investigation. They're actually all under the age of 19. In that shooting, a 13, 15, and 20-year-old were all shot. Kinston Police Chief Keith Goyette says any shooting in their city is tragic, but especially when it involves kids. A quiet scene now looked much different Monday night on the 300 block of South Davis Street in Kinston.
A group of teenagers, young adults, ranging between 13 and 20 years old, standing outside, conversating, and a car drives by and unfortunately, shoots at them and strikes 3 people. Also struck a vehicle as well.
2 girls, a 13-year-old and a 15-year-old, were both taken to ECU Health. 20-year-old Rayshawn H. went to UNC Health Lenoir. Police say all were shot below the waist with serious but non-life-threatening injuries.
It's a tragedy, especially when you have teenagers shot.
Kinston police arrested 4 people, ranging in age from 15 to 19 years old. They all have several charges, including attempted first-degree murder. Chief Keith Goyette says so far this year, shootings are down in Kinston.
Today is day 135, but yesterday was day 134 without having anybody shot. Unfortunately, we did have 3 people shot. You don't want to reward that. Anytime you have somebody shot, it's a tragedy. But I would say if people have information in this particular case, if they have any information for any possible shootings or any illegal activity, contact the police department so we can stop crime before it takes place.
With so many teens involved in this shooting, parents will pay closer attention.
Know where your children are at all times. I know that's difficult, and I'm a parent of 3, so I understand that. It's a shame when somebody gets shot outside their apartment complex, on their own business.
Now, I did ask Chief Goyette if the teenagers involved knew each other. He says it's still early in this investigation, and they're still trying to figure out if it was targeted. We'll keep you updated as soon as we learn more. In the studio, Aaron Jenkins, 9 on your side.
All right, Aaron, thank you.
Last stop on our cross-country crime journey is going to be Ohio, Cleveland to be exact.
Morning, we are tracking that breaking news from Cleveland's east side. We have confirmed at least 1 person is dead and several others have been injured in multiple shootings. Hello, everybody. I'm Mike Brooklyn.
And I'm Tiffany Tarpley. Those shootings happening just minutes apart. Mike Holden joins us live this morning from the 5th District Police Station with the latest on what happened here. Good morning, Mike.
Mike, Tiffany, good morning to you. Those crime scenes all cleared over the last hour to hour and a half, so we came here to 5th District Police headquarters, where we are now working to get you the latest developing details. As you mentioned off the top of the show, we have confirmed 1 person is dead, at least 2 others wounded. At last check, no arrests, but you have to consider this all played out roughly 30 to 45 minutes apart in that same general area. But News 5 stayed just past the crime tape and followed investigators as they pieced together this deadly shooting. Police shut down the area of Superior and East 110th Street after a body was found in the road there. That area remained closed until just before 5 this morning. No arrests in that incident. Then, just 20 minutes later, we followed police as they processed this area. Police were called to the area of Cleveland Road, right near St. Clair. 1 person shot in the leg here. They are said to be okay. Finally, in that last 30-minute stretch, right around 2:45 this morning, police rushed to the area of Calcutta and Waterloo for multiple gunshots. They moved in and found a man shot. He is expected to survive. At last check, though, no one is in custody. Now back out here live this morning, if you are just joining us, we know 1 person is dead, at least 2 others wounded in these shootings that played out roughly 30 to 45 minutes apart. Again, all in that same area. Mike and Tiffany, the big question this morning is, are all of these incidents connected? At this point, it's not clear, but we'll continue to check in with Cleveland Police, and as soon as I get an update, I'll break back in. Back to you.
We know it's going to take some time for them to piece all of this together. Thank you, Mike.
All right, that's going to do it for last week's Crimes of the Week Mother's Day edition. Share to keep your people aware. Always remember to check on your people. Make sure they're good. If you hear about an accident somewhere on the other side of town, you know your folks stay on that side of town, call and check on your people, man. Because life is too short and we getting taken out of here day by dumb shit. So love on your people, check on your people, and just keep everybody in prayer, including yourself. Bye.